welcome. If you like what you hear and see, please subscribe to the Be Your Own Kind YouTube channel. And if you're listening to the podcast, please follow me. Also, in the description box, you can find my Linktree link to all Be Your Own Kind related matters, such as the BYOK merch, where we sell items from t-shirts, sweatshirts, masks, and mugs. Also, you will find our website and the links to my social media. Also, we are always looking to collaborate with others, such as business owners, vloggers, bloggers, or just if you simply want to share your story. Last but not least, if you are looking to promote your business, Be Your Own Kind will gladly promote you. If you are interested in details, please email me at info@beyourownkind.com. Thank you for tuning in and for supporting the Be Your Own Kind platform.
Treasure Glitz customizes stem and stemless glasses, mugs, shot glasses, you name it. I love showing off my personalized glasses. She has customized glasses for personal use and even for the Be Your Own Kind podcast. Customized drinkware is great for standing out at your event or relaxing in style at home. So order your item by calling or texting 708-299-7555.
Well, hello, Marcia. How are you today?
I am groovy, which kind of shows my age, right? When I use the word groovy, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing groovy as well. You know, it's the weekend, so you know it's a woosah time.
I had a drink last night. I had a Friday night. I'm having a glass of wine, kind of. I'm in woosah mode.
Nice. I love that. Now, what's your favorite kind of wine?
I'm a red kind of girl.
Mm.
But as long as it's not a sweet wine, I don't discriminate. I'm just not into like a Riesling.
I'm a sweet red type of gal, so I do like the sweet.
Yeah.
What they call it, the dessert wine.
Yeah. I'm not a big sweet kind of person, but I get it.
So, you know, I asked you to, tell me a little bit about yourself in the form, and you are an Emmy nominated, non-scripted showrunner. And also you are a supervising producer for over 10 years, probably way more than 10 years, I believe. And I looked up showrunner because I had no idea. I've never heard of that before. That is a busy title. Like, what all does that entail exactly?
I mean, production is just a busy thing.
Okay.
You know, production is like this crazy busy beast. At the end of the day, it's mapping out all of the pieces that make a project happen and making sure everything is running. So that's the easiest way to kind of put it. All the production pieces kind of happen, and your job is to keep all the balls moving and doing what they're supposed to do.
Is it like a project manager, so to speak?
No, because I would. Okay. I guess that may be one of the closest ways to kind of figure it all out when you're not in production, but it's so much bigger than that. Like getting a show off the ground is so much bigger. And just so you know, in the world of production, I'm totally fluid. So I work in different areas. Currently, I'm line producing. So we all, in the production world, hopefully have multiple skills. That's how you stay employed.
So what is line production?
Well, line producing is managing talent, people, budget, and making sure you hit that everything happens and you don't go over budget, which typically happens.
I would assume so, because things happen and you go over time and things like that. Well, just for me being on the outside looking in, those are the things I can see why the budget would go over.
Well, your goal in any production, whether you're showrunning, line producing, whatever the deal is to hit all of your targets. Like, you can't go over time. You can't be late. You can't deliver late. You can't miss your production deadlines. Regardless of what happens, whether a network says we want to change it don't matter what they change. You still got to hit your deadlines.
Oh, okay. You like, it's not a matter of missing anything.
No, you don't miss nothing. And
Okay.
I think, and creatively, that's the job, is making sure that everything happens regardless of all the changes.
Okay. That's a big responsibility.
To some degree, and then some degree when you're used to it, right? It's the beast.
Yeah. And me outside looking in, I'm getting anxious, like, oh my God.
There are a lot of anxious, I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. You do have a lot of crazy moments, but at the end of the day, at least from what I do. So currently I've been doing quite a few back-to-back kind of specials. That is a different beast in itself, because each time a project comes up, it's very different, right? Each network is different. Everything you're doing for the group of people that you're interacting with, it's all different. But prior to this, like say for instance, when I worked on a feature or I worked with a network, that's a little, I'm not going to say easier, but it's a little bit more, you can anticipate a little bit better because you know all the players.
Right.
When you're on a project base, something that's, short term for just like one network, then you got to know everybody, you got to learn everybody, you got to figure it all out, you got to figure out how they do things and get it all done in this crazy timeline.
Yeah. Wow. And you're also writing a book, right?
Yeah, that's been an ongoing kind of process. I'm not a writer. That is not my get down. But I have an idea for a what I hope would eventually be a feature. And I just kind of thought the best place to start was writing a book. And my partner, he's a writer, and we had talked about a few things, and he's like, just start here. And then there's a book. And then it's so simple and easy for him because he does this all day. But for me, it's like,
well, congratulations on that journey, and I can't wait for it to come out.
Thank you.
So, in your industry, so 2020, the pandemic hit. How did you maneuver in your career during that time?
The crazy thing is, I just said yes to everything. I said yes to, before, like, networking is a very specific kind of, you go out, you meet people, you ask someone to sit down and have a coffee, but you couldn't do any of that in the pandemic, right? We were all trying to figure it all out. So when I was trying to figure it all out, I just said yes to everything that kind of came my way. So they're like, do you want to join this group? I'm like, sure. Do you want to go to this mix? Sure. Do you want to go? Sure. And honestly, a lot of that has come full circle for me. Those relationships that I started, like say last year in the pandemic, all those networking mixers, part of the JTC, it's all these groups. It's all coming full circle. Now that the world is opening back up, they're coming back around going, hey, we met you last year. Can we talk to you about this project? Can we talk to you about that project? Can we talk to you about that one? So I'm glad I did. I'm glad I said yes. I think I got that idea from, there was a Shonda Rhimes book.
I was just about to reference her book.
Yeah. There was a Shonda Rhimes book out, and I remember thinking, in a lot of different ways, like no was always my get down. Like I was always looking for a reason to eliminate things from my life. So no was an easy word for me. And I was like, no, we just gonna say yes. We just say yes.
I like that. I'm in the midst of that book. So yeah, I'm really inspired by that book. Say yes. She said it was 6 words she used to always, I think her sister said to her, that made her feel different about it, because she's like, you always say no. And she's like, no, I don't. And then she realized she did. And she just started opening up these different opportunities and kind of enjoying like the fruits of her labor, because she was just kind of in her little shell, during that at one point, And
it's easy that way. It's easy to be really, really comfortable that way. Quick, short, ridiculous stories. Like that's how I met my partner. I'm good at no. Like I'm good at no, and dating was just not on my radar. So I was just getting ready to shut it all down. And I was on a dating app, and I was like, oh Lord, I ain't doing this no more. because I can find a reason to say no to anything. But finally things, came about in such a way where I was like, okay, we're going to say yes. It's going to be fun. Marcia, say yes. Just say yes. It was the best yes of my life.
Oh, I love that. So how long have you guys been together?
3 years this fall.
That is wonderful. See, guys, saying yes can lead to some awesome opportunities in relationships.
Yeah. I mean, no has its place. No has its place. Boundaries are really important, but yes opens up such beautiful doors. You never know. Right.
Well, no, when no is tied to fear, it's never a good idea.
Yes. Yes,
but when no is attached to boundaries, it's always a great idea. So just knowing what is what.
And I have said things to people. I was like, okay, we need new boundaries. And when you see people react in a way, and they're like, boundaries, I was like, yeah, see, you and I, no. When that's your reaction to the word boundaries, no.
You're right. People turn into a 5-year-old when you place boundaries.
Yes.
I noticed that. Like, what is wrong with you? Because I know I don't want to do said thing. This is how you act? Like, what?
And that's when you have to start reevaluating someone's place in your life. If they start reacting that way to the word boundaries, whatever you're going through. I've had quite a few shifts in my life, and I've had to sit down with people. And I'm like, yo, we need to talk about some new boundaries here. And there are a couple of people, one in particular, who's just like lost her mind. I was like, yo, this is how we know things gonna change real quick.
Yeah, because you're just used to doing whatever you want to do. And people don't understand the boundaries are to protect yourself. So if you care enough about me, you should want me to protect myself,
right?
Just to protect yourself. So why are you upset that I'm looking out for somebody you supposedly care about? That's why I never understood the reactions with the boundaries. Like, do you care about me then?
Right. And, and the pandemic has really clarified and shown us all, clarified relationships, I think.
Yes.
Certain people in my life were like, no, boo, I get it. God has got us. We're going to get through this. And then certain people have they're in this whole me. I was like, yeah, no, that ain't working.
Yeah, and you know what? I asked the question and no one can seem to ever answer it, but I'm like, has some of this self-care and self-love kind of transition people into narcissists? Because it has to be a balance, right? For caring about yourself and caring about others, but have some of these people just transform into only thinking about them and how it makes them feel, because in the beginning parts of their life, they neglected themselves. So now they on the other side of the scale, only thinking about themselves. So I always wonder, if you don't find balance, could you inadvertently turn into a narcissist and only thinking about yourself? What do you think about that?
I think you have to if you're not built that way, right? I think if you have a super, super solitary life and there's nobody in your world, then maybe, possibly, but I think it's hard to become that if you weren't already that.
Okay, so if you are that, that's just who you were.
Right. The situation allows you more of that to kind of come out.
Right, but if you came out compassionate, that compassion doesn't really dissipate with you.
No, I don't.
Self-love. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless you go through something traumatic, and those kinds of things will change you. Grief changes you. Yeah. Loss changes you. Hurt. Certain things will change you, but I think overall, we are who we are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maya Angelou said, when God shows you, when somebody shows you who you are, who they are, believe them the first time.
And that is probably the most profound thing I ever heard that I didn't realize till later in life.
Girl, believe that first time part. See, people leave out that first time. When someone shows you who they are the first time, that's the part you need to hold on to.
And you're right. And I feel like I was more of a benefit of the doubt. Oh no, they're just having a bad day. Oh no, they've been through this in life. Oh no. And you realize, when the relationship is over, friendship, whatever, you think back like, oh, they kind of did this the first week of me knowing them. And I just ignored it.
Yeah. I was in a situation a while back, and one of my closest friends, Regina, came to me, and I was talking to her about a situation with someone else, and she looked at me. She's like, "How many times does God have to show you that situation ain't right for you?" I was like, "Ooh." And when she put it like that, I was like, "Ooh."
I gotta get off. Yeah, it's kind of like an aha moment. And as you said earlier, the pandemic kind of showed you who's in your circle or not.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I had that time to reflect.
Yeah, and my circle, I always thought my circle was pretty tight and pretty close, but there were a couple of people who, for whatever reasons, they kind of showed out in a different way. And I'm past that place in my life where I'm going to argue with you about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, as Maya said, when they show you, it's cool. Yeah. Do you, boo?
Just some people are just seasonal people. And I think that's what you learn with age, because you hold on to these long-term relationships because of the simple fact they're long-term. But some of these relationships really be out of season. Like y'all should have a long time ago.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes a moment for us to realize we're all learning and growing, even at my age, we're all learning and growing. And, I have a 16-year-old and she'll get into it with her friends. And I'm like, sweetie, you see what I go through with mine. It doesn't change. We're all learning and growing, even at my age. It's a cycle. You just keep going.
Okay. So it's forever.
It's forever. You will forever be, looking at your circle.
Well, that's good to know, because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm 37. This is it.
I have thought that a couple times in my life.
Okay. Well, thanks for the reassurance, because I thought it was. So also you wanted to talk about like reprioritize. So we're talking about relationships right now, right? And you wanted to get into reprioritizing, who you spend time with, quality time. Like the pandemic just kind of gave us that moment of who we hang with, who we want to hang out with more, things like that. So how have you penciled in your busy schedule, like spending that quality time with those people?
By, as they say, by hook or by crook, and it's a short list now, but now it's, whether it's Zoom cocktails or drive by one of my girlfriends, anytime she's in the area, she'll just drive by and we'll sit out front. She'll just pull up, she keeps these little fold out chairs in her car. Now that we're all vaccinated, I think for the first time she came in the house last week. Nice. But whatever it takes, and then sometimes, you have to look at how you spend that time differently. One of my really, really, really close friends that I grew up with in San Diego, her and her whole family got COVID. Yeah, her mom, dad, everybody. So spending time with her, there hasn't been any in-person anything. So, and she is, believe it or not, an Android user. I am an iPhone person. So
I'm Android.
But we find a way to make it happen. We do the Facebook video. When I was at home in San Diego, we did not see each other, but she was mad. I was like, dude, I know you negative right now, but I love you. But we gonna stay right over here.
Right.
But whatever it takes, I am uber flexible, especially in this. I think that's the other thing the pandemic has taught us, is to be flexible. Mm-hmm. I think we all have to find ways to connect, and however we do, technology is a joy. One of my girlfriends is struggling with cancer and went to high school together. We pencil in once a month, chats. But she's doing really well though. She's out hiking. Okay,
that was my.
Yeah, that look on your face. I was like, no, she's doing really well. But I've known her since high school, so it's we'll do whatever it takes to put in that time. And sometimes this is the other thing. It may not be a lot of time, right? Mm-hmm. We're all grown-ups. We all have I got a 16-year-old. Things happen. But as long as we make the time, and it may not be all the time, it may not be once a month, it might be once every 2 or 3 months, but as long as we make the time.
Right. Because it's about that quality, not the quantity.
And it's about letting people know that they're important to you.
Exactly.
One of my besties, my sissy, She's been traveling a lot. She only lives like 10 minutes away from me. I haven't seen her. And she's busy and I'm busy. She's got, my nephew and totally, full schedule. And we don't get to see each other that often. But we connect via text whenever we can. It's like, yo, can I see you this weekend? No, I can't. All right. We're trying though.
Right.
Right. We're trying. And sometimes I'm like, okay, it's been too long. I'm just going to drive by your house and sit outside. Whatever.
Just going to camp out here till you walk through.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's probably the one thing, family time and, that girlfriend time.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've connected with more people in the house than I did when the world was open.
Yeah. Well, and then it's all good quality stuff, right?
Yes. Because you really miss these people for real. Because you haven't seen them, for over a year. And so now I'm like, okay, I miss you. Let's do Zooms. Like what you were describing. It's like, I wouldn't even, I would pass by somebody's house, because we take for granted, oh, I'll go another time. Now it's like,
right.
Man.
Yes, there was a lot of taking for granted. There was a lot. I have a group of guy friends that we all went to college together, and we're all sci-fi geeks, and we all keep an ongoing text message thing going on. But recently it was like, yo, everybody's vaccinated, so what we doing? Star Wars, what are we doing?
Right. I get vaccinated on Monday, so I'm excited. At first I was listening to all the conspiracy theories. I'm like, you know what? Everybody seems okay, so I'm just going to take
it is. You can go on that side if you want, but the reality is that it's the only protection.
Right.
It's the only protection that's out there. And like Dr. Fauci said, there are a lot of people out there who are saying, let your own immune system do what it's got to do. You know what his answer to that was? It's like, look at the 500,000 people who have passed away in the United States. And when you look at it that way, I can't tell you what to do. But.
Right. So I got over it. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and get this shot.
Right? I mean, that's all you got.
What did it hurt,
Yeah, and I have a family to protect. My mother is still living, my daughter, my partner. I have a family to protect. So
right. So that's actually thinking of you and outside of yourself. Like
yes. So you got to protect the people you love.
Right. So you have introduced a term to me that I've never heard. I have never heard of peri-menopause. I looked it up, and clearly it's the transition to menopause. Yeah. Even though you can still get pregnant during this, even though your ovaries are kind of like slowing down, I read that you can still get pregnant on this.
You can still have everything. Yeah, it's awful.
So how's the experience during perimenopause?
I'm sorry?
Are you going through perimenopause? You want to
get perimenopause?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So the crazy thing was years ago, I think I had problems sleeping or something. And some mom said to me, she's like, oh, that's the beginning. I was like, dude, no, it's not. Lord. I will be 50 this year. So
you look super young. You don't look 50 anything.
I'll take it.
When you said groovy, that kind of alluded that you were a little older, but just talking to you and looking at you, no, you don't look 50 anything.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, everybody's body hits like different ways. I was never that person. Like when girls talked about having cramps, I used to think they made it up.
Oh, wow.
I never had one. Maybe once a year, maybe. Like, I was like a 3-day cycle kind of girl, like,
I'm jealous.
I mean, it was never like never had a cramp, never took it. I would see people heating pads. I was like, what y'all? Okay. And well, so I'm on this side now, the universe, and this is the universe making up for all the years of nothing, right?
Oh no.
Yeah. So and everyone's different, but me and a few of my friends who are in this chapter of life, we're going through it.
Oh, we are. So are the hot flashes involved in this transition yet?
I don't necessarily have those.
Okay.
most of my friends do.
Okay.
I don't necessarily have those, but when I do, well, y'all don't want to hear all that. This part, this is not for public consumption.
Okay. Well, I will say with a hot flash, that was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Just because I was sitting behind my family member and I saw the sweat all of a sudden, and then she's standing, and then like a couple of minutes later, it disappears and she's fine again. And I'm like, what just happened? You know, she's been trying to explain it to me, but for me to have just seen it, because I was sitting back of her in church, and I'm just like, oh my God, like my heart went out to her. And I'm like, you just hot out of nowhere. It literally is a hot flash. Like she just was intensely doing it.
And pray for her. But knock on wood, what I will say is, unfortunately, this stage of life can go through like 10, 15 years. It can go on for a while.
Oh my.
So Lord, all kinds of things can pop up. I've had friends, like I didn't understand women who were like, no, I'm just going to go and have a hysterectomy. Like I didn't understand that. And not to say like I'm a holistic, my daughter calls me a hippie. She says, Mom, you think lemon will cure everything. And maybe that's true. I don't know. But I'm not a voluntary surgery kind of person, you know? I'm not and to each his own, right? I'm not going to judge you for doing it, but I'm just not I'm going to go in, you're going to let you. I've had a C-section. That's the only surgery I ever need in my life. Like that was awful. But what I will say is being on this side of it now, I get it. Like running out and I was talking to another mom the other day. But she was like, I ran out and, I just ran out and got a history. I was like, girl, I get it. Like before I didn't get it. But now I totally get it. Sorry, I'm going to turn this off real quick.
That's okay. I'm kind of on that side of that because I have PCOS. So I'm the one with the heating pads, the crazy cycles and things like that. So I'm holding out for like one kid. And I'm like, after this one kid, I don't know if I could, because it's just that bad.
Yeah.
So my family is like, well, stick it out. Don't do the history after that. But I'm just like, well, they're gonna have to do something special because it takes over your life.
Yeah, I never understood the desire. I never, it was like I said, I never had a cramp.
Right.
One of my best friends in college had to tell me I was having a cramp. I didn't know. I was like, there's this feeling, my back is shooting down my legs, and I was like, oh no, I must have put. She's like, girl, it's a cramp. Such a little happy ass down. I was like, Fina. She's like, it's a cramp. Here, take a Motrin.
No, she was irritated.
Irritated.
It's Motrin. Yeah, that's a blessing though. That is a blessing. I mean, I'm sorry that you're going through it now. I think I'm just on the other end, like, man, I don't even know what that feels like. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I never understood the hysterectomy thing, and yeah.
So do they give you medications for that, or you're taking
for some people? For some people, if you can take the medication, I have other problems I can't. So yeah, there's no for most women, like everyone does different things. Like there's this one mom at my daughter's school who takes something called bioidenticals, and I thought she was crazy. She was like, yeah, no, I'm going to put this off for as long as I can, and I'm going to do all this hormone replacement therapy. And she was going to take something called bioidenticals, basically, which is giving you all the hormonal stuff that you would have like in your prior to perimenopause to keep you from going into it.
Okay.
And I used to think, I go, you're crazy. Now I get it.
Yeah, people just try to do anything to just feel normal.
Right. And this was my thing. I thought it was crazy. I was like, well, why do you want to take stuff? It's like, you don't need to take anything. Shoot. If I could.
Well, I know you had put in there, the joys that comes next in perimenopause, and I'm like, is she sarcastic or is it
Oh
actually
yeah, no,
a
I was being
joyful
sarcastic.
thing?
No, there is no joy.
Oh, okay.
The joy is when this is.
I want to action. I'm like, is this sarcastic or really is it joy behind it?
It's totally sarcastic. And the crazy thing is that me and my girlfriends, there's no information for women out there. I mean, it's so hard to find information. It's so hard to find information. It's so hard to connect with people. Like, you'll find little bits, but it just seems like the shame, like women just don't talk about. I don't know. But there's just not a lot.
No, not much. I had to look it up. I've never heard. I didn't even know there was it was a name for the transition. I just thought you have a cycle one day and then you hit menopause. So I didn't even know it was like a bridge.
Yeah, you don't know there's a bridge until you in it.
Yeah, so I wish they would do more research on that. I think they're so focused on the geriatric pregnancies and things like that no one's really researching, okay, after that, now what? So
yeah, and everybody has their own journey on this, just finding doctors who work in this field. Girl, it's tough. It's like really, really tough. And then if you have any kind of additional things going on, and then finding doctors who not only support women in this way, because of course we're low on the totem pole, right?
Yeah.
But who respect. So once again, I'm not a hippie, right? But I do want to research and try things that are like, I'm going to jump into hormone replacement therapy. Like, I'm not necessarily I'm not going to start there. Mm-hmm. So, I want to talk about options, but there's not a lot of options. One of my girlfriends found like a really great holistic kind of thing. But when you find those things, they're usually by people who've like kind of created their own things, like women who are suffering in their own right. Mm-hmm. And they've created their own other things to share with people. It's like, I found this, it works for me. Let me share it with the world.
Yeah, but that's, like you said, that just seems to be the thing for women health, period.
Yeah.
Even with PCOS, people have created their own little supplements or whatever, because it's the cycles are weird and things like that. Just with the misdiagnosis with women, when it comes to things like this, like I just found out last year I had PCOS, and all the other doctors were telling me I was just fine. And I would go almost a half a year without a cycle and was told I was fine. Then I would go the other half of the year with one. It would never stop. So, and everyone's like, well, that's just your body. And I'm like, this is not normal, so doing research and stuff, I'm like, I think this is what I have. Then I finally met a doctor that actually did tests. First person to do an MRI, whatever they have to do. I don't know if it's MRI, but something they did. And they actually looked on the inside of me and saw that there was some issues. And I'm like, all these years, this is the first doctor that took me serious. So it makes me wonder about other women out there that have issues that's unlooked or go, not diagnosed, or they get misdiagnosed, so that's
scary. And that was the other thing I was going to say is coming into a doctor's office armed with your own research. And it's not just for women. I mean, it's just people of color in general. Mm-hmm. I used to care for my father, and, it was amazing how doctors treated him, an older Black man. It was difficult. And it got to a point where he was just like, I ain't talking to y'all. Like, he's like, I'm gonna wait for my daughter to get here and she'll handle you, because they didn't want to listen. They just did not want to listen. So you do have to take control of your own medical care. You've got to come in armed with information and research. And it may not be everything, but once they understand that you're not going to accept whatever they throw at you, whatever they're throwing at you, whatever they're giving, like once they understand that, no, you're going to go out and do your own research. You're going to come in armed. Like, that's how you get them to spend the time, And if you're not happy, you move on to another doctor. Serious.
Right. And I had to learn that you're not, you're not like married. It's not a marriage. You can break up in a marriage too, but you could just say, hey, you're not the one for me. Let me find someone else. And that's how I ended up with the doctor that actually heard me out. Because you're right. I went in there with paperwork. Like, look, this is how long this has been going on. This is how long it's been stopping. This is da 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 da. And the more information I gave her, the more I have pictures, everything. Like, look, this is what's going on. And she, I think she likes that almost because it's like, oh, I can pinpoint what that is, So
yeah, you've got to come in armed and prepared.
Yeah,
really should. And doctors hate me because don't let me get your email address. My OB at one point was like, okay, Marcia, if you want to talk about these things, just make an appointment. Like, she got sick of my emails. I'll be like, so I found this article. Yeah, don't let me find your email address.
You're not WebMD, your doctor.
Listen, whatever it takes, whatever it takes in order for them to pay attention. And mind you, not all doctors are bad, right? Even if they're not giving you the attention that you need, it could just be as simple as time. They may not have the time to kind of dig in. So, but sometimes, they're just not, they just don't get it. So when you are going through something, I just say, bring all the information you can, get the articles. And then, if you don't feel like your doctor's paying attention, get a new one. Find somebody else. There's so many reviews out there on doctors. Ooh, you can, you can sort through some folks real quick.
Yeah, I need people to use the internet for those things. I know social media is the main thing for internet, but it's so many other things on the internet that can help us out.
Yeah, I mean, when you start getting into these reviews of doctors and you start talking, and people start talking about things like, oh, so-and-so spends the most amount of time with me, listens to me, has been my doctor for 15 years because this and that. I remember one time I had referred a family friend to my GP, and the first thing he said was, oh my God, she's always running behind. I was like, yeah, she is, because she spends like an hour with every single patient, which is like kind of unheard of, but she wants to go through everything with you.
Wow, that's dope.
But like, you don't want to be here 4 o'clock.
You're not getting it to 9.
You learn your lesson real quick. You learn your lesson.
When do you want to schedule? 9 a.m., please.
Oh yeah, I used to be sitting in that parking lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's worth it because someone's gonna listen to you and try to figure out what's going on versus it being like sometimes going to the doctor's like speed dating, like what's going on? What's that? Oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll see you next time. I'm gonna see this prescription. Have a nice day. And you're sitting there like, wait a minute, wait.
Yeah, I mean, you
I met with you.
Yeah, but I am also grateful for this time period in the pandemic where doctors are like, no, don't come in. Like, here you go. I'm like, well, I've had a breakout. Like, all of a sudden, I've always had bad skin. FYI, I've always had acne. I've always had problems. And I'd been on Proactive for like 15 years. Super strength Proactive, which was amazing. All of a sudden, it stopped working, girl. Stopped out of nowhere. And then I had cysts. And so I called my doctor and I was like, I kind of heard about this thing called Retin-A. She's like, yeah, you ain't got to come in here. Pandemic, quick, fast, here you go. So I love the efficiency in some of this, the pandemic, like you're not going in for every single little thing.
That is true. Especially for therapy. I like not having to go outside my house. You can just do this. You can Zoom or whatever they go through and just have a talk with them. So it is convenient in its own way. Yeah.
Yes. There's a level of efficiency, where you don't have to come in for every single little thing.
Right, and sit in the waiting room for everything.
Yeah, and you can't get me to sit in anybody's waiting room. I stand out in the hall.
Oh wow.
Not with COVID. There are a couple appointments that I've had to go to, and I'm like, text me, I'll be up.
Oh wow. I mean, I just sit away from people because I'm always afraid that I'm gonna miss my name.
So I'm like, I just text me. I ain't playing, not with this COVID.
I see you are not at all. So are there any upcoming projects that you're working on that you want to share with anybody, or?
I am currently line producing on a project for MTV.
Right.
It is a special on anti-Semitism. I think it airs right now, tentatively, May 25th, I think.
Oh, okay. Day after my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday. Happy early birthday.
Thank
So what
you.
sign does that make you?
Gemini.
Ooh, my father was a Gemini.
He was awesome, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Yes. Yeah. I'm excited about that. And I think I saw on your resume you worked with Comic View, BET.
Yes, that was
That
was my flagship show. Believe it or not, it's been off the air for a while, but people still know me from that. People still love it. It's one of those it's one of those times in history where you can be part of something that everybody, values and treasures, and there's no better job than to making people laugh. I mean, that's like the best job in the world.
Yes. I used to watch Comic View religiously. So when I saw it, I was like, I instantly became a fan.
Yeah. I think my most famous season was the New Orleans season with Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, are you sure you want Bruce to? I was like, yeah, no, I'm sure I want Bruce to host. I'm sure. And I had been on the show for a while. And the number one person that everyone wrote in for was Bruce. Number one.
Nice.
And everyone's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm really sure about Bruce. Really sure.
Really
I know it's one of their best seasons ever. So
yeah, I love that.
But there's no better job in the world than making people laugh.
Yeah, that's a hard job.
In some way, okay, so making people laugh is hard, but once you find that rhythm, I mean, there's so much joy in it. Bringing joy to people is a blessing.
Yeah, but it's some tough girls out there. I've read some biographies with some comedians, and they're like they had to find their way. They weren't always funny enough, and it's hard for me to believe that people like I don't know, like Chris Rock. I don't know if he said that actually, but Chris Rock is like my ultimate favorite. He always makes me laugh.
Making people laugh and the art of storytelling. Certain they all have their way of doing things.
Yeah.
But I was blessed enough to work with J. Anthony Brown and Steve Harvey at one point.
Uh-huh.
And one of their exercises was writing and turning anything into funny, like picking up the newspaper. Like if you could pick up the newspaper and find a way to tell that story and find humor in that was part of like their daily exercise. I was like, wow.
That is. Eddie Murphy, I feel, can do that too. He's one of I got like the top 5 comedians, but yeah.
Okay, who are your top 5?
Okay, I have Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, Jamie Foxx, Dave Chappelle, and oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Richard Pryor. Wow.
Always Richard.
What are some of your favorite comedians?
Richard Pryor, Paul Mooney, Red Fox.
Yeah.
I can watch Red Fox any hour of any day. Love Red Fox. Always Eddie. Yes. Always Eddie. And the versatility in Eddie. Eddie's like grown up, he's kid, he's I love Eddie. And then who would be my 5th? Bernie.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yes. Okay, 6. He was just funny just talking. Yes. Yeah, Bernie Mac.
Bernie.
Yeah.
But you know what? They're all great. But my all-time favorite would probably be Red Fox.
Red Fox. He is funny. Yeah. And it's like a classic funny. Like I feel like Eddie, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, you can watch their stuff now and still laugh because everyone doesn't follow,
and they don't have to tell much of a story.
Right.
Like Red Fox is funny, like just in his movements.
Uh-huh.
He could come out and and just do the smallest little, and you're just like, oh, what's next? You know? But I'm a slapstick kind of girl. So like Red Fox, I love Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The show was just unbelievable funny, and she was in the house. I'm like, how is she this funny? She never goes anywhere. And the show is hilarious.
Always laughing. Always
busy in the house.
Always laughing. But yeah, I can watch Lucille Ball all day, every day.
Yeah. I like Lucy. I like any of those shows. Like I love Mary Tyler Moore, Dick Van Dyke. I love all those I call them the Nick at Night shows, because that's what I used to watch at night when I was a kid.
And Dick Van Dyke he's still kind of, not as busy in the pandemic. He was one person that I meant to go see. He was always, I think it was Catalina Bar and Grill in LA. Mm-hmm. He always had like a show. Like prior to the pandemic, he was still pretty busy. And I remember, telling my partner, I was like, babe, can we go see Dick Van Dyke? Of course. It's like, yes. And then, the pandemic came.
Oh man, that was awesome. Yeah, and Betty White, I don't know if she's still busy now for the pandemic, but she's always in some type of sitcom or something like that. So
yeah, she's got a great cameo somewhere.
Yeah, I love Betty White. Yeah. So we have a staple question here at Be Your Own Kind. And that question is, if you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be and why?
Okay. I hope if it was one word, I hope it's loving. I hope it's something that I give to my family and to my friends. I hope I'm able to share just how much I love them.
I love that. That they not only just have a hint of it, but they feel it when you're around.
Yeah. I mean, especially in these times, like you don't want anyone to think, you're taking them for granted. I hope that when I am able to connect with people, with my friends and my family, that, my partner, my daughter, I hope they, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I hope, that they always know just how much I love them.
I love that. I don't even have any words. You got me speechless.
Well, I mean, right? Because in this day and age right now, what we're going through, 1 minute somebody's there, the next minute, they're in a hospital on a vent, and you just hope if something crazy happens to you, that all the people in your life know just how important they are to you. Yeah,
I'm getting a little teary-eyed, but yeah, you're right. And the one thing that people think about when they lose someone is, man, I hope they knew how much I love them. That is the first thing. I feel like I hope they knew what they meant to me,
Yeah, I mean, that was when my father passed. That was one thing, like I knew under no uncertain terms, like he knew that he was loved. We talked about it every day.
Yeah. And that's why I try to say I love you. That has to be my last word when I get off the phone.
Yes.
Because I've been lucky enough for that to be some of my last words, because that's really important. And if we were in a disagreement, we got to cut this short, because, I don't want my last word to be up yours. So
yeah, I remember right before my father got ill, he was fussing at me. He was fussing at me. It was right at Halloween, and my daughter wanted something for Halloween, or what she wanted to wear. And I'd seen him earlier in the day, and then I talked to him around 2 or 3 o'clock. He got sick the next day, and he was hospitalized a few days later. And I remember he was like, Mercy, Zoe told you she wanted da-da-da-da. I was like, Daddy, I don't have time for all that. I told you, if that's what my granddaughter wants, then you need to make it happen. I am not having this today. I love you, but you need to get it together. I was like, all right, Daddy, I love you too. I'm gonna call you later and make sure Zoe has what she wants for Halloween. I was like, okay. And I think he was hospitalized like a day or two later. That was our last disagreement.
Oh, wow.
But even in disagreements, we always ended with I love you.
I must say, it's loving. Yeah, my mom was on that. Don't let the sun go down. You know, and as I got older, I'm like, some of them suns dropped before we had a conversation.
Right?
You know, but it always be in the back of my mind, like, okay, I can't let this go too long. Somebody got to say something, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important. Pandemic did show me how short life actually is.
Yeah.
You know, so man, Marcia, this has been a phenomenal conversation.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you for being on the show today. Like I just feel like we connected on different things and talked about the pandemic, relationships, and the importance of love, you know, and the importance of no versus yes in different situations. And yeah, you gave me some nuggets today without even knowing it.
And you gave me some, so I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And you know, I look forward, you know, to seeing your, I guess I never look at the credits, but I feel like I would see your name in the credits on some of the things. So now I'm gonna be looking in the credits on May 25th, like I interviewed her. So
Thank you.
yes, and I wish you nothing but the best or the most success, you know, in your future endeavors. You know, and like I tell people, I don't just Instagram you and you see I'm not following you. No, I'm one of those people that's gonna pop in your DM every once in a while just to see how you doing, because I feel like I make friends every time I interview someone on my platform. So
No,
just,
definitely.
yes,
I
so
love it.
yes, so thank you so much for taking time out your schedule to spend with us. And
no, I'm glad we can make it work. And Lord knows both of our schedules were a little tight.
Yes, most definitely. So listeners, I hope that you grab some nuggets as well. And I hope that you feel as warm as I do right now. And don't forget to be kind to yourself and to each other. Bye.